Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au or shop 394 to 398 Middleborough Road, Blackburn, Victoria, and also find them on Facebook. Thank you very much, EJ Cards, for sponsoring us.
Welcome everybody to episode 52 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam Amy, joined as always by Russell Gibson. Russell, how are you on this beautiful Sunday?
It's been lovely, mate. I literally have just been sitting around watching basketball and packing cards in little sales and ran a break. It's been delicious.
I went outside in the sunshine today. It was delightful.
Yeah, I probably should have gone out in the sun,
here.
but I just stayed inside all day.
Look, nice. I should have watched more basketball while I was crook last week, but no, I was too busy, doing the COVID thing. Glad I got through that though.
The furthest I went outside today is I walked my kid to McDonald's to get an ice cream. So that
sounds like a delightful
That's the mood
walk.
of today. It's been very chilled. Yeah.
It's a nice little chill Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to ramp it up because we've got a fair bit to talk about today.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Do we want to kick it off with the big story? I don't think there's anything else to do, but
I think if we don't kick it off with this, it's just going to be weird.
Yeah, that's true because we'll be waiting for this.
Yeah.
All right. So for those that I suppose haven't been on social media for the last day or so.
Yeah.
You've called it the Kaboom situation. There is a YouTube video circulating titled How to Pull a Kaboom. Guaranteed, not clickbait.
By Sports Card Radio.
Now, Sports Card Radio ran this, put it all together, hasn't actually given out the code because there's been a request that we don't sort of teach people how to rot the system, I guess, was what he said on his video.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't know if people are aware, every basketball product Panini releases has a little hologram on it. Now, I thought that was more of an authenticity logo or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like a little hologram to say this product is an official Panini product.
Yeah.
Turns out it's not just that. It's an identification code that links back to what the contents of the product is.
Or contains, more specifically.
What it's actually containing. So there was, now you might, I only watched the video this afternoon. My understanding is who was the breaker that first did it? LMS basically had a break. Someone wanted to buy a Ripper box. The question, can I have a look at that box? Can I have a look at Cade's shoelaces?
Yeah.
Which is where the hologram was. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I'd be like, if it was me, I'd be asking to look at more of a close-up detail, the condition of the box, not drawing attention to where I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Anyway, not going to tell people how to do the wrong thing. They got to look at the numbers and based on that information, purchase the box and hit a Kaboom.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the guys from LMS actually, they were tipped off, I guess, by the Cade's shoelaces, given that the packaging, it's the same image on every box, right? They were tipped off. They did a bit of research. Anyway, so they found this number sequence and tested it. There was a live video where the box didn't leave sight. They found a similar, the sequence that they thought they'd cracked, bought another box, opened it up, and lo and behold, another case hit. So the question is, what does this number or this sequence do? Does it identify the exact contents of the box or is it just case hits?
So
there's so much to unpack. This could be the whole episode, by the way.
Yeah. So I think, can I just make some general comments before I answer that question? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Look, you're a lot closer to this than me.
So my sort of general feeling about this video is it's almost like making news out of something that's not really news. And what I mean by that is like, and to a degree, we're part of this too. Like, we make a
We,
podcast about
we make
trading cards.
content.
Yeah, right. So I'm also I'm making a joke about myself here at the same time too, right? So it's kind of these
Sure.
guys, and then you look at like the feed that they're sitting in. Like I feel like one of the guys is maybe sitting in a bedroom, and he's pulled down the curtains to try and reduce the light that's coming in, and the other guy looks like maybe he's sitting in his office, and then Sports Card Radio, to be honest, maybe looks like he's still lives at home with his parents, and um, he's just got out of bed. He hasn't had all of his coffee for the morning yet, and then he's sort of pulling himself up to the microphone. So, you know what I mean? I feel like there's this very kind of
Yeah.
vibe about that, the video. And then the second thing too is, I've joked about wearing a tinfoil hat. All of these dudes should be wearing tinfoil hats right now. Honestly, I feel like if they just wore a tinfoil hat, it would actually add some legitimacy to their video and just make it like, I would just believe them more if they're wearing a tinfoil hat, frankly. So that's where I'm like, I found this not humorous, but I mean, this is not new news. Like,
It's not new news, but they're piggybacking off our previous discussions.
Yeah.
And the backyard breaks controversy.
Yeah. But I think also too, so let's just talk about the practicalities of this. My understanding of the serial numbered boxes is so that the boxes can be put in, and then each case has the right amount of hits. So there's the box that has the hit in it, and then that goes into the case, and then that's like a full case. It gets sealed off it goes. That's my very practical understanding of why Panini would need to do this. And then, like anything, if something can be manipulated and if people can make an advantage for themselves, you can see how people then could then take advantage of that situation, and this type of scenario could play out. Whether the information got out because a Panini staff member sold that information to somebody else to, for personal gain.
Yep.
But it also could be to someone that just pays a lot of attention to serial numbers, is very good with numbers.
Yeah.
And is just smarter than everybody else, and then, worked it out. Why that they came out and did it so publicly, that to me is a little bit confusing. And the other thing too, I'll sort of add to that part of it, is like, in the internet age, you can't really get away with that stuff. Like if you do something on a live feed, and you do somebody that knows Sports Card Radio, then straight away it becomes a show, and it literally becomes, even though he says it's not clickbait, like this has become clickbait.
Of course it's clickbait. By saying it's not clickbait, it made it clickbait.
Yeah, totally. So, how do I feel about all of this? I think weighing boxes has been going on forever. This is just a different variation of weighing boxes. And, how do you stop this from happening? I don't think you can ever stop this from happening. Whether there's serial numbers on there, people will be weighing boxes. They'll open up a case and they'll rip boxes until they get the case hit, and then sell the rest of the boxes as, sealed product, right? Like that can happen too, so
it's interesting. I don't know.
How this actually impacts the hobby, I actually don't think it's going to have a massive impact.
I don't think it'll be massive. However, I mean, we talked about this before the show. I've experienced a couple of we've said people have been weighing packs for years, right?
Yeah, 100%. Tell us about your pack weighing thing, because that's actually next
So I actually
level.
had a customer come in years and years ago. This is Yu-Gi-Oh product. And he had an electronic scale set up with 3 different settings. So they would actually come up as words instead of numbers if it got these exact measurements. And it would be secret, ultra, and ultimate. And it would be, that was the grade of rare that would come out of that pack based on the weight of the card.
So, because I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh dude, so tell me, what's the NBA comparison? Or
let's say plain cards with
so if you get an ultimate, what's that like in NBA cards?
Oh, look, it's a 1 per box card, right? So it's the auto.
Okay, so it's like the box hit.
Yep, so the box hit. If you go and buy a hobby box of 12 packs, you can pick the pack that's got the auto in it.
Yeah, rightio.
Imagine that.
That's an advantage.
Yep. Well, it's definitely an advantage. If you're selling it by the pack, right? And I don't want to buy all 12 packs. I just buy the one that's got the... there was another situation. So obviously I didn't allow anybody in the store to use the scales. I just demonstrated while we were opening product one day.
Yeah.
The other thing that we encountered, and I think it was 2012, 2013, Magic the Gathering went through a phase where there was box mapping software available. Now, what this was I believe someone had leaked the actual programming. So what would happen is by opening the first 6 packs in a booster box, by keeping the packs in their order, you could say what cards were coming out. That's going to show how unrandomized random booster packs were.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like it would tell you down to very, very accurately. Which I'd seen a couple of people do it.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I could know what the mythic rares coming out of a box was going to be.
Sure.
Based on 6 of 36 packs being opened.
Yeah. And that's the type of information that shouldn't come out.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you get disgruntled employees. You get companies get hacked.
Yeah.
I don't look. There might be a sequence for the Kabooms. They may have cracked a code. Interesting, as you say, that they didn't share it. But I don't know. I feel like they're not going to use the same 3 digits on every case kit.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be randomized to some extent. I know that Wizards of the Coast changed the way they packaged their product after that. There was actually a randomization thing.
Wizards of the Coast.
That was Magic, the Magic one.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, mate.
The box mapping. In order to get around of it, they actually implemented some form of shuffling to the way that the boxes were packaged.
Yeah, great.
To avoid this stuff happening. But yeah, like people were developing code based on patterns.
Yeah. So what else do you think the bigger issues are around NBA? Because other people have also said, well, if this happens in Crown Royale, does it happen in other products?
My first reaction
What's your thoughts about that?
Well, I said, all right, so if it is true, what about, we'll say Court Kings, we'll say blank slates. They're a case hit, aren't they?
Yeah.
Cool. If I could, instead of, is it 20 in a case? 20 boxes, 20 blasters?
Yeah, 20 blasters, yeah.
Right. If I could get a case of 20 blasters and pick the one blaster that's got the blank slate in it.
Of course, yeah.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, of course.
Because you can't actually, in good faith, even if all of the sellers are 100% genuine, you can't buy with confidence anymore if it's not out of a fresh sealed case. You're like, oh, well, this has been, it's not a fresh case, so they've taken the one box out and they're going to sell me the duds. Now, I'm gonna assume that as a breaker, your counter to that is, why would you do that? Just purely because it's bad for business. Do you know what I mean? But there are eBay sellers out there that sell loose product.
Yeah. Look, so that's a funny one because we did we did 2 cases of this season, and one. Did we do 2 or 3? Anyway, the first case we did was excellent. We had 2 blank slates.
Yeah, the reason I brought up blank slates is because you had 2 out of 1 case, and then we had the one where you got none.
No, and then we did a 3rd case, didn't we? Then we had 1 out of that. So in that situation, that is to me genuinely randomized because there's 2, there's nothing, and there's 1. It's
True.
A very small sample size, but still it's 3 cases, so it's something of a sample size.
Yeah.
And how can I say it also too? And the way I get allocated stock, I know I'm not getting preferential allocation. So there's no reason that, do you know what I mean? That I think that, something's, dodgy going on there. And then the other thing I would say too is I've had loose boxes of Crown and I've also had Kabooms come out. So, I don't particularly think that something that's that widespread that it's, going to be infecting, the hobby. And I don't think that the boys really said that too in the video. No. I think really their premise was more just to bring something to light, to make it, people to sort of be aware of and to discuss.
So that though,
yeah.
All right. So it's been brought to light. Do people now, with certain case hits, try to research what the code is on every box that has a case hit?
So I think the answer to that is yes. People would already be doing that, I suspect.
Anyway. To try, but are they now inspired to look for codes?
I think if you have that particular mind who is very conscious of numbers and you're very observant of numbers, I think you would have already been doing this, frankly.
Okay. Do you
And
think there
now,
actually is a code?
yeah, I'm looking at sealed products on my desk right now. Yep, there's definitely. So this is just a box of fast break. It's got a 3-number code on it, and then underneath that, it's got a 3-lettered code, and then
Yeah.
underneath that, it's got numbers and letters. So yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, no, but with the code, do you think there are consistencies between what the code is
Oh,
and
sorry,
what's in
I
the
misunderstood
box?
your question.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I do believe that. I think that I don't know how the cases are packed, but I think they use some type of coding to make sure that the cases are packed correctly.
Okay. So you like if every other box won't have the sequence CH7, as in case hit 7.
I think sometimes the cases don't get packed properly because, like we
Okay.
spoke about before, and I've seen that in other products too. Like sometimes it happens. You might get more case hits than you expected, and then I've been in other breaks where
Oh,
you don't get what you want.
this is the tinfoil hat moment, isn't it? So the tinfoil hat comes on. Are these cases? Do you think the cases are packed manually at Panini? Like, is the stock being manually packed? Case hit gets put in, or 2 case hits, and then sent to Big Breaker.
So my understanding is most of it is packed by machines these days,
Yeah,
and that
and my thought
there's
was
only a
it should be
couple of
machines.
products. But I suppose the thing that I'm not too sure about is, let me rephrase that. Machines will pack the boxes into the box, but what I'm not sure about is how the cases are packed, and
Okay.
that would make sense to me that there would be some human element of involvement to make sure that there's that sort of one special box that does have the case in it, hit in it. That makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah.
And if anyone, our listeners out there, can send us down the right track so we can sort of make this more clear, that's totally fine because
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm all over this process because I'm just 100% not. The other thing I'd say about Panini is that to me that they're not a company that has no imperfections. So the fact that they have some cases that have more case hits and less case hits than they probably should have probably also means to me that all their processes aren't perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. No
And I
doubt.
wouldn't say that's particularly malicious either. I think sometimes they're just a bit not great at doing things properly.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that politically correctly, hopefully.
Oh, look, you want to take the underhanded element out from Panini,
We
and you
don't
just
want
go,
to get
yeah, you know
sued
what?
by Panini, do we, Adam? Like
Sorry,
we don't get sued by Panini.
no, we also don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to get sued by them. We don't want to slander them unnecessarily, but we also don't want to give them a free pass just because they are Panini, right?
No. So I suppose, and that's the question: is that what do you do about this moving into the future?
Um. Well, this is the question. Does it change people's buying habits? And as you said, people have been weighing packs for years.
So
If you
yeah, what Kevin said from LMS, I thought was really interesting. He basically just said that when they do case breaks, they open the case on camera.
Yeah.
And then that way there's like no tomfoolery. I would say the way he said that that's gold standard. To me personally, I would say if breakers are doing cases, they'll open the case on camera. Like to me, that's not
Yeah.
even real. There's no real discussion to be had
There's
about
no,
that.
yeah. I
How many
definitely see what you
breakers
mean
aren't
there.
opening, cases on video? I think for me, where it's problematic is that, and again, we were talking about this off air. I think things have slowed down a little bit in terms of breaks.
Mm,
And so the problem with listing case breaks at the moment is, unless you have a particular audience or you have a particular, amount of followers or, whatever it is, not
yep.
every breaker can just bash
Just
out a case break. Like
go, oh, you know what? Stuff it. We're doing a case break today.
it's not that easy. So, it's
Yeah.
not like you can say, well, the problem is solved by just doing case breaks because, I don't think that's, to be honest, fair. I don't think that can be
Mm,
done. And so, and then he spoke about, doing the best thing from the hobby. And I suppose where I sort of sit on that at somewhat the small end of the spectrum, I suppose you are relying on your suppliers, goodwill,
yeah. Yeah.
that they haven't mined
But
product.
as you've said, like as far as the supply goes, why would you not have a like you can't take the hits out. If you're a breaker and you're not hitting your case hits.
Yeah.
How long? If you get unlucky once, as you said, Court Kings is a perfect example, right? You got lucky once, you got 2 blank slates.
Yeah.
Unlucky once, 0, and the
Yeah.
next one you got 1. If you constantly got 0,
Yeah.
something a bit sus happening. I
Yeah.
reckon you're going to struggle to fill the 5th one in a row with 0 hits. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like And they said that on LMS. They break for the hobby. It's there's no actual motivator for the breakers to do the wrong thing. The
Yeah.
way I see it.
So think about this scenario though, where they were talking about backyard breaks, where
If they had planted product,
they are getting higher number of hits. But see, where I sit on that is that so backyard breaks in that instance would have to be buying cases, picking out the box that they thought was going to be the case hit, and then what are they doing with the other 10 plus boxes?
But this is the thing though with backyard breaks.
Selling them with singles, but that's not their business policy. They do case breaks after case break.
Correct. This is the thing. The sheer number of cases that they buy implies that if you buy 10% of all the product release, not saying they do, but with the sheer volume they're buying, of course they're going to get a couple of big hits.
Well, they should get a case hit every case. But do you know what I'm trying to say? In that,
yeah.
If you're saying you can pick the box out of it, like I have no idea why backyard breaks.
I reckon the code goes beyond what's a case hit. I reckon the code gives away what the card is.
They didn't imply that in the video, but no, what I'm trying to say is
that's just my thought on it. Yeah.
I feel like I'm defending backyard breaks like in more than one case here, but like why is backyard breaks even being brought into this conversation at all?
No, I think the backyard breaks thing is being used as the platform to elevate this issue. And the backyard breaks themselves haven't done anything wrong. People
100%.
are just saying it's that because a big breaker breaks big cards when they buy an absolute truck ton of product, it just makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is, like the naughty boy at school that always got blamed for stuff, even if it wasn't him. I feel like this issue has got. We're talking about people picking out single boxes, right? That's not
the loudmouths are always the one that gets singled out. That's why backyard breaks is.
Yeah, but that's not even their business model. You know what I mean? Like they do cases. It's got nothing to do with single boxes. They're not like mucking around with single boxes. I bet you they could care less about this.
No, they're getting loaded product, and they reckon this this serial numbering is part of the conspiracy of loaded product.
Let's just get the tinfoil hats out now. Seriously, I actually wish I'd made this prop. I'm like, this is it now.
Next week,
I'm coming on the show with a tinfoil hat. I'm over this. This is it. It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Tinfoil hat. Mine will say regulate the hobby. I'm gonna be back on that train again.
Anyway, look, what's your final thoughts on this ad? Look, to be honest,
I'm not even going to Andrew gaze into the future on this one. This is this is not news. It's clickbaity, and it raises potential issues.
Yeah,
and potential wrongdoing by people and potential figuring out codes, and good on if you want to go to those extremes to deceive people in the hobby to buy product that doesn't have case hits, then good on you. But like Panini have better control over your coding.
That's my final thought too. I think if Panini are putting this out there in the first place, people are going to take advantage of it. So it's 100% Panini's responsibility, and they need to fix it up. Like that's where I sit on this.
Yep. If it is a code thing and it can be cracked, you need to up your game. Simple.
I think for me, sorry, I know I said one last thought, but this is my last thought. I promise. I think where it could have been more convincing, I sort of said to you, it's like a couple of guys sitting in their parents' backyards, which I'm sticking to that too, by the way.
Yeah.
It would have been more convincing if he actually opened a box like live himself and did it, because if he's like, I know the code and blah blah blah.
So here's the box of Crown, the case of Crown Royale that I've got. Like, bang, I've got this
exactly,
one.
Yeah. Like to me, a lot of this is like frankly hearsay. Like I'm not seeing nothing here that's really that groundbreaking is what I'm trying to say. So come on, Sports Card Radio, get on the gear and like show us like a real live example.
Well, I was going to say that's why the backyard break stuff's so interesting, because no one's really been able to bring the numbers back after the first lot of crazy numbers that we went through. Yeah. No one's actually been able to back that up.
The only thing that happened was backyard breaks drinking apple juice and saying, "Come and join our
break with us. If we break all the best stuff, come break with us."
You know what the funny thing is? I actually have thought about breaking with them now. they're like in my
it
mind
works.
Fuzz. Yeah,
it works.
They're actually in my mind fuzz now.
Oh boy! All right. I know there's other stuff to talk about today, so
yeah. So The next thing actually I wanted to talk about, so I sent you this in Messenger, mate. It's a picture, and I literally took a picture of the basketball game today. And
Oh,
it's
yes.
the most free throws attempted this season. And I think this is a really good measuring stick of who's relevant in the NBA right now. Giannis at 103, Luka at 93, DeMar DeRozan at 91. We spoke about him last week. KD at 87. Now, this is the really, really interesting one. And again, we spoke about this guy last week, but I'm going to double down. Paulo Banchero with 76 free throws attempted this season. I think that's just, really, really important to keep in mind, because I think free throws really do represent that you're being aggressive and going to the basket, but also two, that you're getting calls from the referees. And that was something that happened today. Paulo really got a couple of calls that even the commentators said, this is not the type of call that a rookie would normally get. So I'm loving that so far. The odds for him to win Rookie of the Year is $1.37. So he's at the moment,
He's an unbackable favorite.
Yeah, at this early in the season too, right?
Wow, we're less than 10 games in, really.
He looks fantastic. He really does. He's just an all-round package. Passing, rebounding. He had 16 rebounds today.
It's huge.
He makes all of their offense. He literally just gets the ball and brings it up the court and just creates offense. I'm really, really high on this kid. I think he's just absolutely fantastic. Anyway, the rest of the list: Ja Morant 74, Jason Tatum 69, Spicy P. Again, we've spoken about him in the last couple of weeks.
Siakam.
Saying he's a bit of an underrated fantasy stud. 69 free throws this year. Trae Young at 68, and our last one on the list is our dreadlock wearing Jimmy Butler. So, what stands out to you on this list, buddy?
Nothing really stands out. Like, these are the players that, do you know what I mean? Like, they're the guy on their team.
Yeah.
It's literally the guy on all of these squads.
Yeah.
Trae Young's actually a surprise for me.
Because you think of him as a shooter, not so much someone who's drawing fouls.
Yeah, like more of like a shooter, not a driver, not like an attack the basket kind of guy. But clearly, that's part
I don't
of his
have
game.
the analysis to break this down, but I think the sets that the Hawks are running this year are a lot different to last year. Like the way they're using Trae to me is a lot different. So maybe because of the way they're sort of freeing him up, it gives him more paths to go to the basket. That could be something. True. There's probably someone on True Hoop that have broke this down in a really significant way. Look, I think for me the takeaways are Pascal Siakam. He is injured at the moment with a groin injury, I think. So I'm a little bit like buying and selling him at the moment. I think is a little bit dicey. But yeah, look, Ja Morant, I think that we should check his prices this episode. And I think when Paulo comes out, honestly. Yeah, I really think he's going to be the the number one selling rookie. I've got no problems with that at all. And then, I think Luka's having a really, really nice season. Like some of the numbers he's been putting up is just outstanding. And
Luka worries me. I don't know how much that guy's shoulders can take, because he's carrying the whole franchise at the moment.
Yeah, look, I don't think that.
Maybe I just underrate Dallas. I don't know. I just feel like he's got a lot of responsibility.
The way I look at that team, I do agree with you. He's got a lot of responsibility, but their offensive weapons, they've got a lot more around him. Like Dinwiddie, I think, is playing really well. And then the big they picked up from Houston this year, Christian Woods, he's playing really well for them. Like he's just literally coming off. So Luka at the moment is minus 16%. And this is, I'm really, really struggling with this at the moment. So this is his PSA 10. The last 3 months, he's down 16%. His last sale was 1,800. And he's down even though he's playing exceptionally well and he's injury-free. And I don't have an explanation for this other than what the economy's bad. Breaks are a little bit slow at the moment.
But that's a pretty big factor though, right?
Did people buy in for a 12-month investment now they're jumping out? Do you put this as a buy, hold, or sell, mate? That's the real question, isn't it?
I think we're in a real... if you can hold market.
But let's just say you've got some cash to spend and you don't own a Luka.
I just worry with Luka because he hasn't. So he's number 2 on that list, right? We'll go to the free throw list because the man at number 1 has an NBA championship, has 2 MVPs. Giannis has got to the top of the mountain. I'm not saying Luka won't, but Luka needs to get there. And I just worry with Dallas, the way they're constructed, that it's just going to come to the pointy end of the season. He's going to get pipped at the post in the MVP race, or he might win the MVP. But I don't know if Dallas, as constructed, have what it takes to win a championship. And I think that hurts Luka. But I still think there's a bit of value to be had.
Look, I think he's a very strong buy at the moment because I think for whatever's happening outside of the basketball world, it's actually not represented in the basketball world. So I suppose the real question is, if you're thinking about buying into Luka, is it going to go down more because of what's happening in the real world?
Yeah.
So
that's that 25-year rule. Are you buying this as an investment? Like a long-term investment? Or are you buying this as I'm going to buy this as he's the flavor of the year kind of thing?
But you do want to get in at the right time, right? And I suppose like what I'm not worried about with Luka, but what does come to mind is that something will sort of click and then he'll just, go up like crazy again because...
this isn't Luka's not someone you buy to flip. You buy to invest.
Well...
What I mean by flip is, quick turnaround.
Well,
he's not a quick turnaround purchase.
Not at the moment when things are trickling downwards and his prices are so high.
Even if he's trickling upwards, you don't flip. Like, you don't buy a Luka for $3,000 to sell it for $3,100.
Okay, let me put it to you this way. What I'm trying to get to is, at some point in the offseason, Zion was a really good buy. And if you did buy him in the offseason, you've done really well. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell, right? It was just a matter of, like, when did you buy him as to, like, if you're flipping it now, how much you're going to get back, right? And I think the same thing is going to happen to Luka at some point because at some point this is going to trickle down and people are going to be like, look, this is too good to pass up because of everything that he's doing on the court. So I suppose that's where I'm sort of thinking at the moment. Look, I think you just have to keep watching this day by day. And the really interesting thing is too, he does actually fluctuate literally, day by day. If you sort of zoom into the sale, so I'm looking at the Ruby Wave at the moment. So the top sale there was 1750 and then the least was 1130. So, that's not, sorry, I lied to you. 1050 was the lowest. So that's not a small amount of money. That's $700 in, a couple of weeks. So do you know what I'm sort of getting to there? Like it does
you're
matter.
Right.
Yeah. So look, I'm not going to lie to you. I bought Luka in the off season and, where I bought, I was very, very happy. I was bidding conservatively and I'm very happy with, what I got back. So, and even though he is trickled down, to be honest, I've actually lost nothing. I'm still sort of sitting at, break even if I was to sell it. But this for me is something I'm putting away for, my boy. That's what the plan is going to be. I just think
it's volatile.
You have to watch the space. Hey, keeping in the vein of Luka, just scroll down two things. So Luka at the moment is currently for auction on PWCC in their premium section.
Yep.
This was actually brought to light by the guy that I really like on Twitter. It'll come back to me in a second. Anyway, let's talk about the PWCC auction. So it's currently up to 1,800,000. Now, this is actually the same card that we spoke about when we comped it to the Giannis logoman that sold, and we said, "Oh, this card is raw." So in the time that we last spoke about this card, it's being graded and it's now for sale at PWCC. So,
I'm looking at the auction as we speak.
I think the break-even number is 4 million, isn't it? So for me, it's a really interesting time to sell this card because Luka across the board is basically down. There's a lot of
interesting,
funny stuff happening, in the market sort of as we speak.
I'm looking at it. It's got 2018 National Treasures Luka Doncic rookie NBA logoman patch auto 1 of 1 BGS 9, and then underneath the next bit is 1 of 1 masterpiece, only copy ever made. That's what 1 of 1 means. But thank you.
Well, I mean, some people just need it to be explained to them. I'm okay with that. And if you've got the characters to burn, why let these characters, sit there and waste them? Like, it's like when you do your eBay title. Do you leave characters empty or do you fill it right up to 0?
Fill it right up, yeah. I know what
exactly.
you mean.
Same, man. Come on, like, if you're doing a $4 million sale, like I'm not gonna like give the guy crap for that. I think that's legit.
I also would like to know when does it end? Auction is live. When does it say? It doesn't say
1 week, 4 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it'll be in 2 episodes' time. We get to talk about this.
Nice. November 17th is when this ends. Yep.
I will say this though, I feel a little bit bad for the other people who was auctioning. So at the same time, there's a Luka to 5 BGS 9.5, the black gold, which looks absolutely delicious. There's also a Steph Curry to 500.
There is.
BGS 10, and at the same time, there's a Giannis 1/1. So it's a select, but at the same time, it's still.
Yeah, that's
There's a
juicy.
Jordan rookie. There's a Ja Morant number to 5. Like, there's some really,
There's some
really
quality on this
nice
page. Yeah.
stuff. So, and that again makes me a little bit nervous when you've got this Luka up there. Like,
the Jar's the rookie logo man, 8.5 National Treasures.
yeah, radio.
Oh, blockchain. Never mind. What?
It's still a physical card, but it's of the blockchain variant. So
okay, so it's different 1/1. I don't know.
It's not the one that came out of a box. That's my understanding of that.
Okay. I'm like, I saw blockchain. I'm like, oh no, don't tell me it's some random scam. But still,
You can see the Panini logo
grand.
in the top left. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see what it goes for.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Alrighty, last thoughts.
There's some value to be had if you've got lots and lots and lots of money.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah. If you've got a spare 18 to 20 grand, you could probably pick yourself up a bargain.
USD, man.
It's all right.
Alrighty, Bol Bol. We have to talk about this guy.
Bol Bol, you have the floor.
I've been watching way too much Magic. I've been watching far more Magic than I should be. And Bol Bol is getting playing time, and he's getting a lot of it. And he really has been playing off Banchero, I think, really well. And the way that Polo's game is structured is that he's actually very happy to create and pass off to people. And look, Bol Bol can shoot in the mid-range. He's got a decent mid-range shot. He's got a decent three-point shot. And I think that the Magic quite like putting out these sort of long, rangy teams that can shoot a little bit. So he sort of fits into their culture or the sort of the idea of the basketball they're trying to put up there. I think the way that the Magic acquired him too for, literally nothing, like
next to nothing.
Like what a flyer and a guy like that. And in terms of, the excitement coming back to this guy collecting, like we've spoken about this, a million times, saying the Bol Bol moment. He's up 82% on his PSA 10 base rookie card, and his silver is up 50%. So, I think it's safe to say he's back.
It's a good news story, right?
It's an absolutely beautiful news story, because I think a lot of people lost money on Bol Bol, so this is maybe a chance for them to get a little bit back. I would also say too that I don't think that this is the bottom, or should I say the top. I think this is going to keep going up.
You think his performance is going to sort of warrant that?
If he's healthy and he's still
Jordan Poole good.
I think he's a different type of player, because I think where he's
I mean just like the card price, the way Jordan Poole exploded last year.
Is this going to go to $1,000? Are you asking?
Yeah, and then back down to 300. But
look,
is this the kind of spike we could get?
If this goes to 1,000, I think a lot of people are going to get hurt, because it's a silver PSA 10. He's not Giannis. You know what I mean? So you have to keep it in context a little bit. Like, we're now talking about a $73 card. Like, this is not a $1,000 card, right? So look, I think there's a lot of excitement around this kid. I think the Magic, despite their record, I think they're playing fun basketball. I think they're playing good. I think he's going to get eyes on him, because people are going to watch Polo, so then people are going to watch Bol Bol, just like how I've been doing.
Just naturally. Yeah, good point.
So I still think this is a buy, despite the fact he's gone up so much. Where do you hop off is the real question.
Yep. Well, where do you get on the train? And I mean, at the moment, he is up, but it's a current dip. So, I mean, if you're getting silver prisms, I don't know, around the 70, 75 mark, that's great.
Yeah.
Even up around the 100 mark, once it starts getting up. I suppose everyone's going to have their price point.
My feeling about this is that I'm very wary of these sort of, very volatile cards, because I think just as, he's propping up at the moment 50%, I think he could twist his ankle and then go down 50% the next week. So, you know what I mean? And
This is definitely a buy at your own risk, and
definitely. And
jump in if you
identify him as a buy in my off season. I actually went after Fultz and I went after Spicy P. So maybe you could say, well, maybe the higher ceiling was actually Zion and Bol Bol, but my sort of gut feeling was like they also come with injury risk, and I just wasn't
true.
Which Fultz is a horrible injury risk. But anyway, that's like the path that I walked down. So anyway, that's where I'm sitting with that.
I'm going to make a quick digression, because I'm just looking at Card Ladder and I couldn't help myself. Following our previous discussions.
Yeah.
Laurie Markkinen or Lowry Markkinen. I don't know how you
talk
pronounce
to me
it.
about him. Yeah,
He's still up.
yeah, and he should be. He's been
Silver
playing really well.
Prisms. What are we? Looking at 100. Last sale was 170 US. He's up 240% over the last 3 months.
And he should be, because
he is playing out of his skin.
Yeah. So look, so my take on that is people paid a lot for his rookie stuff because he was a Bull. It's very much similar to, like, that whole Knicks theory that I've got, right?
Yep.
The Bulls theory fits into that too. So again, I think people went through a lot of pain because, he really did bottom out. So if you've been holding on to that stuff and, waiting for the day to sell it, your day is definitely coming. Again, the real question is like, where do you get off? Because is he going to become a number one or a number two scorer in this league? Because realistically, he did this last year too. This is not like the first time he did it. Like last year, he played very, very well. He played good basketball, and he
played solid basketball. That's right.
Yeah, he was a reason why that team did as well as they did last year. And I don't think that's, frankly, like clickbait saying that. So, him getting more shots now, and let's be honest, there's probably not as many good scorers in Utah as there was, in Cleveland last year. So it makes sense he's getting a few more shots.
Yeah,
but he's interesting. So yeah, alrighty.
Great.
So moving down this sheet, our next thing is actually from Dane Neville. So Dane, thank you so much, mate. This week we are going to discuss the insert set list, the rookies, and that's in Donruss Optic, and also Donruss Clearly.
I'm gonna go and have a look at this right now.
So this year's set is actually it's very short, it's very sweet. It's 5 cards: Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, and Jalen Suggs. So the question that we sort of put to people is, what should have been in there, or what would you do differently? David Gibson, his belief was that it's very short, and he put it down, it should be 10 people. So in addition to the top 5, he said Giddey, Kuminga, Franz Wagner, Davion Mitchell, and Zay Williams. I'm pretty okay with that. I agree with that. I think a 10 card set is just as good as 5.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I kind of think 5 is a little bit too short. And the other contribution we had too was from James Mann. Now, he's actually raised a very, very good point, but he's also done a massive flex at the same time, because he showed off his Donruss Clearly, but what he showed off is actually the Mosaic variant, which is essentially, I think that's either a case hit or a box hit. Give me a second. It's a case hit. So he's holding 4 case hits in his hands. He had the LaMelo Ball, the Anthony Edwards, the James Wiseman, and that looks like the Emmanuel Quickley. So look, I'm a sucker for Mosaic. I absolutely love Mosaic, but at the same time, I have 0 of the Clearly Mosaics just for the fact of the price point. So I don't know how much cash he's holding in his hand there. I would say that would be close to $500 at those 4 cards. Like that's a flex and a half. So congratulations, James. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. They do look amazing in the acetate. The funny thing about the acetate, so I don't really think that Donruss Clearly took off that much, because the price of that stuff sealed, I think in the end settled at about 150 or 200 Aussie dollars. Like when I say it's not a lot, comparatively to other hobby boxes, it's not a lot of money. So they weren't that collectible, even though they look absolutely spectacular, as what James has just pointed out. So what's your thoughts, mate?
It's not a set that I'm overly familiar with. I do like the idea of a small chase set, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I don't like the checklist that it's an insert set, but I need to get 600 cards.
Yeah.
Like it's more like a base set when 30 is probably the cap because it's a 1 per team thing.
Yeah.
But I don't mind a small chase, like a dozen or something like that.
Yeah, agreed.
I think when we did checklists the other week, this is a while back now.
Yeah.
It's very easy to put too many cards into a chase.
Yeah.
It's way too easy to just go, okay, we're just going to throw names in. But to have a really nice, succinct list of rookies, I think is good. And I think it brings some class to the set.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's probably, class is the word I'll go with.
I'm not very high on Jalen Suggs. I think he's going to be an okay pro, but I probably think he maxes out as a bench player on a good team. So I think to be honest, I think he's going to be problematic, because where he was picked, It's actually his salary is quite high moving forward. So actually, I think it's going to put the Magic in a sort of a funny spot. Even though I think they'll want to retain him, I can actually see a scenario
Can
where
they or
they
can't?
don't
Yeah.
actually pick up his fourth-year option because of like the salary that'll be. So that's almost like something to sort of keep an eye on. So
Yeah.
if you're keeping it at a 5-card set, I would take out Suggs. I think looking down the road long term, probably Kuminga is the right person to put in there. But I would say for short term, Giddey is the right person to put in there.
Yep.
So if you're pushing me for an answer, I would probably say Giddey is the right person to put in there.
Yeah. No,
Look,
I like that. I like that. No, Giddy.
yeah.
But is that the Australian bias?
Well, I think at the moment Giddey is playing better basketball than Kuminga is. I think Kuminga
Agreed.
has had opportunity and realistically this year hasn't played that well. And part of that I would probably say is because he's essentially being taught how to play basketball the right way, which I think is very difficult for a young person. But I'd also probably say too, you need a very high IQ to see, really succeed in the Warriors system. And you can tell that he's lost sometimes, and you can tell that he doesn't really know where to run to. And then when he does get open, his jump shot's not there. So, all the skill isn't there with that guy. I know it's hard, so I'm giving him some slack in that sense. But, Giddey is doing a good job creating, and you can see him, making better rotations now. He's had a lot more repetition than Kuminga has. Again, giving some slack to Kuminga. So, look, I think Giddey is the right choice now, but again, maybe in 10 years' time, Kuminga is going to be the better pro. I think he's got the highest ceiling for sure.
Who knows?
Look, what do I think would be a perfect world? I probably agree with David Gibson on this. I think a 10-card set is really nice because the other thing that happens too is sometimes rookies sort of come out of nowhere and become really good.
That's true.
The example for that is Zaire Williams, but Santi Aldama is actually the starting power forward for the Grizzlies this year. So actually, do you have like a Smokey at number 10 and sort of put, Santi Aldama in there? I like that too for a little bit of prospecting in a checklist. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'll back you here with the 10 being the magical number because think about it, Sports Center, top 10. It's always a top 10 countdown.
You can roll out a top 10. Let's go.
Yeah, this week's top 10. Yeah, easy. Makes sense. Yeah, I like it.
The next question actually came from our Instagram ad. So this is from Zane R. Richards. Got a listener question for you.
Have we still got Instagram?
We do, mate.
Oh, sorry.
It's not on fire. I'll admit that.
I tried to set it on fire and had to get a new phone as a result.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with Instagram. Social media and me are not friends.
It's all good, mate. Out of all modern day era cards, let's say from at least Panini's takeover, what singular card do you think is going to be the Mickey Mantle or Michael Jordan rookie sort of price card? Or if not, explain. I'll let you take the lead on this one, Ad.
All right. And for all modern day era cards, I don't think we're ever going to get one of those Mickey Mantles or a Jordan with modern era cards because there's so many of them. That's
what creates some of the high prices out of the Mickey Mantles because they got sunk to the bottom of the river or crushed in some kid's pocket, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the older a card is, the harder it is to find in that amazing condition.
Yeah.
Is there a card that I think now where are we speaking modern? Are we talking Panini?
Well, why don't we keep to Panini? Because I think that's interesting, and that's something that we haven't really spoken about before. So, I think that's what he's trying to ask.
Because I'm starting to think of the like that we've got the Steph Currys and the LeBrons and the Kobes of the world, right?
Steph Curry was in Topps,
so that's a Topps, not Panini.
Yeah.
Same as LeBron.
Kobe was in Topps. LeBron's in Topps. So yeah, this is actually a fun conversation, man.
Okay, so I don't think it's gonna be Luka or Zion because the population count. You'd need a catastrophic nuclear event to wipe out the population of those cards because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I'd be interested, and this is just off the top of my head, Giannis. It's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I haven't done a population count, but I think population count is important. So
my answer to this is I'm going to cheat a little bit, but I'm also going to be pragmatic about it because, well, if you think about the Panini era, what they did was they created scarcity within something that was mass produced. So, and what I mean by that is the base card, yes, it's collectible, but that's not really the thing that you chase hard. So, for example, you'll chase the parallel of that base card, or you'll chase the numbered card of that, or you'll chase the autograph, or you'll chase the rookie autograph. So maybe the modern day comparison to the Mickey Mantle is an RPA.
Ooh.
And then if you then talk about the price comparison, I think that's actually the more valid price comparison, because what you're saying is, will a Giannis RPA ever get to $1 million?
That's fair.
We kind of know that it's happened already. So
that's fair. But that's a one of one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am cheating, but you know what I'm trying to say here. And I think also too, if you think about, and you spoke about it with scarcity and, population count, I think that autographs and, RPA stuff really, I think is what's going to go high. I don't think you're going to sell a base Giannis rookie for $1 million.
This is true. I'm live researching.
Because even the Jordan stuff that went to 750K, what's that down to now? 300.
All right. Interesting.
Or even less with Jordan. So that's where I sit on that. So I think the answer is, my answer is you can't compare that era to this because they're literally two completely separate worlds apart.
All right.
And that
who's the player?
I agree with you. In the modern Panini era, Giannis is the most likely person for a short printed card to go to high value.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking at population PSA 10. This is of the Prism Silver Auto. Pop 3 last sold for $79K.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right? Even the silver is got a PSA 10 of the silver.
Is that an autograph too, mate?
No, this is the normal. Just this is the silver Prism. Yeah. Pop count of 76.
Cool.
Right?
What that PSA last sold for?
Last sold for 19.2K.
Yeah, cool.
That's not Mickey Mantle, and this is what you were talking about. But that's the silver Prism.
Yeah.
And the base is still like at a low population. Like it's not like the population count is 2,800 of the base. The pop count of the Giannis base is lower than the silver Luka's running around.
Yeah, so I suppose to be fair to Zane, I haven't really answered his question. So the answer to your question is, mate, I don't think any of the cards from Panini of the base cards are going to be $1 million cards like Mickey Mantle's. I think what you said is right. There's just too many of them.
I think Giannis is the closest to 11, like as far as big, it has got the potential to be a big money card. Is that Giannis, that the Giannis rookie? But you're right. It's probably an RPA because and you made a very good point. The Panini era isn't about just the chrome or the refractive version or like the silver Prism.
No,
it's RPA really is the pinnacle, is the top of the mountain, like.
And the low number stuff too, like the stuff we saw in the PWCC auction, right? That black gold stuff, number to 5. How hot does that stuff look?
Yeah, and that's still selling for tens of thousands of dollars. That's not in the millions
stuff of
yet.
Dreams. Yeah, exactly.
So there's so much variety out there, right? Think about it. How many different Michael Jordan rookie cards are there?
Well, there's
2,
1 and a 1A or a 1B, depends on the way you look at it.
So there's 1, and then there's the other one.
Have we spoken about this, the Star? Do you think the Star is his rookie card?
I think it's not really the rookie card.
I don't think it is at all. No.
Anyway, but do you know what I mean? Like, how many different releases were there in Mickey Mantle's time? There weren't 76 variants to get a Mickey Mantle card.
Yeah.
It was the one lot of cards, different time. But do you know what I mean? Like, imagine there was one set of cards out. That's the scarcity as well. Is the diversity of product. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think you're ever going to get that scale of scarcity ever again. But you will get things that are extremely rare and they will be extremely valuable in context.
Yeah. Alrighty, our next question came from Brian Jewell. Keen to hear your thoughts. What product is not popular in the hobby that you guys like? Mine would be Revo Hobby. Ad, what about you?
Select.
Yeah.
I love Select. I actually do like Revo, but I think it's just too blingy for me. Select is elegant.
You either like Revo or you don't like it. because it's shiny or shinier with that. There's not a lot of contrast.
It's like, I got shiny cards, and then the good ones are even shinier.
Shinier, yeah. So
yeah. What's
100%.
Yeah. It's like
So
getting
if
lots
you've
of
said
Kabooms.
select, I'm going to go to Mosaic because my favorite product ever is
you love Mosaic.
18, or specifically 1819 Mosaic is just my favorite product ever because so I'm putting my old man hat on here, but this was the time when you could go onto the Panini website and buy it for $100 US a box. That's what it was. It was only released on their website.
Yep.
And so, if I had my time again and if I could see into the future, I would have just bought as much of it as I could. But it was a really fun product to rip. It was so good to open. It was just the best. And the quality was great. Every card was, a parallel. It was just the best. That is by far my favorite product. And I think my love for Mosaic has sort of, rolled on from that. But I have to admit, retail was making it tougher to have that deep love for it, if you know what I mean.
The retail product is making the space a bit interesting, we'll say.
Yeah. Mark Smith says hoops. First release in NBA jerseys. I love the short printed explosions and black 1-of-1. Color match for my Spurs. True 1-of-1s too. There is only one, not 8 of them like other releases. Hoops also has history. Hoops was around when I first entered the hobby. That is a very good point. Hoops has been, I don't know how many companies they've been passed around to, like, people putting their hand into a bucket of candy and taking one out and, passing it on to the next person. Hoops have been around for what? Skybox owned them?
Yeah.
It's just literally just around and around. He's right. They've been going around for years, haven't they? Damo Winterbond selects my favorite. Tommy Kerridge says Mosaic. Don McFarlane select and Recon. Yeah, Recon's interesting, isn't it? Because I think when Recon first came out as a solo product, I feel like the market was very, what is this? It was too high for what it was. And then this year it just went absolutely crazy. I think if you mapped the price of that on, say, Card Ladder, it would just be a very upward pointing line. It got harder to buy and it got more expensive to buy. And I think people just absolutely loved it. Andrew Hewitt, anything that hasn't been T-mold or hybrid yet. So sick of these overproduced black and gold versions of hobby boxes. Tired of these boxes being promoted as stacked boxes. Yep, and that's the retail thing. Dave Barry says Hoops Premium. That is actually a very nice product. It is. That's a very overlooked product too.
That's true.
The cards look very nice. Brendan Sharp. So Brendan is our friend from Mercury. So Brendan, thanks for tuning in, mate, and commenting. My all-time favorite was Gold Standard, but since it doesn't have its own release, I'd say Totally Certified or Certified as it's now known. The photography in Hoops is also amazing. Yeah, they do. They put effort into Hoops. It's not like a throwaway product. I like the inserts out of Hoops, and I like the printing the backs of Hoops. They put effort into it. So Gold Standard is back in Chronicles now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did like the Gold Standard.
They've sneakily chucked that in. And our last comment is Jonty with agreed with Revo.
Yeah.
Alrighty, now this next one is from Damo Winterbond, Aussie Grading Companies. And this actually caused a lot of chatter in the thing. So there's actually a little bit to unpack here. And are you happy to run through this and have a chat about it?
Yeah, let's go through. I'm just starting to.
So I just want to speak about smaller grading companies, merit, looks, etc. While everyone has their own idea on who is the best, in brackets he's got the big two, which I think he means BGS and PSA. Value for money wise, what is the best? CGA, HGA, Halo, and the rest. So far, Tommy and I can't go past TCG grading for value for money. Quick turnaround, new crystal slabs look amazing. They don't just hand out 9s and 10s. I've had some crispy cards knocked down. I think what he means by that is he's had a card that looked pretty good and it's come back with a low grade. He actually showed an example of a Kobe that came back as a TCG4. So I think they're on their way to being a bigger player in Oz. What is everyone's thoughts? Adam, I will let you go first, my friend.
Tommy Kerridge, 100% agree.
So keeping in mind that Tommy and Damo are like...
thick as thieves?
Thicker than thieves.
Oh, thicker than thieves.
Yeah.
All right. So who have we got? This is a bait. I'm gonna mispronounce Ben's surname here.
That's okay. We can say Ben
Broekhuizen?
Yeah. We're sorry, Ben.
Close.
But thanks for contributing, mate. Yeah.
Appreciate. I would avoid TCG. They graded a counterfeit card as a genuine product and took no responsibility. This is going to open a.
It's a really good conversation,
thread.
though. This
Okay,
is a
good.
conversation this is an appropriate conversation, by the way.
Okay, when I see lots and lots of oh my god, replies. Okay, I'm opening all of the threads and the replies
I
to the
can
replies.
summarize it if you want.
Do you want to go through all of it, or do you want to?
I'll just summarize it. So basically, what happened was Ben brought a Jordan card that turned out to be faked.
Okay.
Then he then contacted TCG about it. He didn't get the response back that he wanted. Basically, I think he was expecting them to compensate him for the card.
Okay.
But they basically just said, oh, a junior grader looked at it.
Yep.
And put it through. He then had to get his money back via the eBay route. So he was compensated for it, but I can also understand why it would leave a bad taste in his mouth because...
Sure. This isn't like the previous ones where they've gone, oh, we're just grading the condition, not the authenticity.
Well, to be fair, they didn't stand up and take responsibility for it. So essentially what you just said, they did do that. They didn't take responsibility.
Yeah.
So, look, my thoughts about this is pretty simple. Yeah, you can grade with these guys for, I think it's about $15 a piece. You do have to submit 20 or 30 cards at the same time, but you can submit PSA and wait a couple of months, and then you can get your guarantee on it. And if grading companies aren't providing a guarantee, I'm sort of a bit unclear about what they're grading and what is the point of having a graded card with them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's my honest feeling about it. If you just want to get a card and you want it for PC, and what I actually think Damo has done is appropriate too in the cards that he's sent to them. And this is how I think the grading landscape is going to end up in the future, is that you'll send sort of lower end cards to, say, SGC. You'll send your sort of mid-range cards, say, to BGS, and your top end stuff you'll send to PSA. And I know that actually that might not end up happening just because PSA has already brought down their price point. But I think for a little while, that's what actually we did see happening, in that sort of time when they're, locking out. But I think what Damo's done is really clever. So he sent off a Prism Draft Ja Morant Pink Pulsar. It's probably a $10 or a $20 card. And then he spent another $10 or $15 getting it graded. Like, I think that's appropriate. I think that's the card value and the grading cost. I think that's totally fine. And if it's for PC and you like the look of the slab, like, I think that's beautiful. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing this to flip and sell, I think it does become problematic, because if you inadvertently do have a fake Jordan and sell it on, there is no reassurance or insurance for the person who's buying it. I think that's unreasonable. Damo also sent this beautiful Sophie Cunningham Phoenix Mercury card, this orange. I call that Mandarin personally, but I'll accept TCG's ruling on that. And he sent in this rookie card. It is a rookie card. It's a WWE rookie card of Primate, 52 out of 149. So, I think they're the type of cards that it's okay to send to these grading companies. I don't think you should be sending Jordan rookie cards to these type of grading companies. And frankly, I think the person who sent it there did it deliberately because they knew it was fake, and they sent it off to PSA already. It had been knocked back. They sent it to BGS. It was knocked back, and they sent it to TCG, and it got through.
It's a push until you get it through kind of thing, 100%. Right?
And I think this is a known strategy that people do. So, and this is a little bit of the problem. And we raised this a little bit when the guys came onto our podcast and talked about, their new grading company. What are they going to do about fakes?
Oh, that's right. Yep. And I remember that.
Yeah. Like, it's a conversation that needs to be had. So
it is. It's a tough one because fakes are you're never gonna it's part of the hobby.
Yeah. 4 to 5 weeks turnaround.
Yeah.
Good for them, I say. Good for TCG for giving it a go. Look, I'd love to ask them the same questions that I asked the other boys.
Yeah.
What's your history? What training did you get? What have you done to stop fakes coming in? So yeah.
How many watchmakers have you got working for you?
Ooh.
Ouch.
Too soon. Pocket Chains ad. You got anything for us?
I've got nothing on Pocket Change.
That's fine, mate. No problem.
I'm terrible. You know what? I'm going to give you 10 things next week.
Adam, I forgive you. It's not a big deal. Alrighty. Patrick Williams is my Pocket Change for this week. Are you ready for this? A silver Donruss Optic rookie card sold for $2.11. This is USD.
Oh, wow.
A Prism Fast Break card sold for $2.58. Again, rookie card. the Bubbles variant. The Fast Break variant sold for $6. A Select Silver sold for $1.70. So this is all USD plus, postage. This is where it gets really interesting though, and I really like this as a pickup. So HDA graded 9.5 sold for $3. It's the Select Premier Level Silver, so that's like the middle one. There's the base and there's the Premier Level, then there's the courtside. So I think for $3 in a HDA slab, I think that is the that's like the buy of the day. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Look, I think Patrick Williams is playing okay this year. He's looking pretty good. He's come off a massive injury, so this year, to me, in my mind, to be honest, is a little bit of a write-off. Like what he does is, I'm not really that fussed about. Next year is the real litmus test when his body's 100%. I think this guy's a really good buy. I think these are very, very shrewd purchases. Whoever picked these up, so congratulations.
Congrats!
That is my pocket change of the week.
Pocket change. I'll have to go and look. I thought the rules of pocket change were you had to be the one that bought it, not saw that it was good value.
Yeah, so okay, well, I'm sorry if I misrepresented. Look, I didn't
listen. I'm sure it wasn't.
I was doing that for a little bit, but I think also what was happening too, I was getting outbid. So a couple of the cards that I've said I have bid on, but I was outbid.
Yeah.
And then also too, it depends on my week. Like this week, I had nothing in my bid history that I could, really talk about for pocket change. And I have been sort of keeping an eye on some Patrick Williams stuff. So that's the other reason why too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Hey, I think we should tie this bad boy off.
All right, let's do it.
We're at an hour and 12 minutes. Is there anything that's getting on your chest that you want to get off your chest?
No. I do know that we're down to one team that we haven't spoken about. So next week we're gonna cover that. That is the New Orleans Pelicans without Zion.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about Zion. We might do Zion Watch the following week.
So maybe what we can do, because I feel like we've been putting this off for a few weeks now, we just put it to the first thing on the run sheet.
So first thing next week, Zion Watch.
Yeah.
Second item, New Orleans roster without Zion.
Why don't we just do the whole Pels, man?
Love it. New Orleans Pelicans, Zion Watch, hybrid. Let's just talk about their roster.
Yeah, let's do it.
It'll be an interesting chat, that's for sure.
Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. We're incredibly grateful as always. Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards. Thank you to you, Adam. It's been a lovely evening. Thank you so much, mate.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun being well this week. So, and for anyone that's watching the live feed, we'll both be sticking around for a bit of a Q&A.
Yeah, we'll do some Q&A. So. Let's do it.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And, until next week.
Peace, guys. Bye-bye.
Peace out.